Welcome to the Honest Designers Show, your transparent look into life as a modern designer. My name's Tom Ross and I'm the founder at designcuts.com, and this week I'm joined by fellow Brit and expert hand letterer Ian Barnard, American retro design expert Dustin Lee, and the incredibly talented South African illustrator Lisa Glanz. In this week's episode, we share some of our more embarrassing stories about when things have gone seriously wrong for us as designers. From bizarre-looking safari animals to a gorilla design that looks more like a pineapple. You have to stay tuned to find out what I'm talking about here. But do stay tuned and find out some of our biggest failures over the years. We really don't hold back in this episode, and we hope that you enjoy the honesty. Let's get into the show. So this week, we are getting into some of our biggest, I don't know if I call it failures, but basically big, horrendous stuff that can go wrong when you're a designer. Because I think we've all had a few instances, and we thought it might be relatable and hopefully fun to share a few of them with you, the dear listener. So who wants to take this one first? As I say, I think we've all got a few skeletons in our closet.
Well, I've got one that's not really... It did go wrong, horribly wrong. But,
Okay, please share.
but it was actually because I lacked the skill.
Right.
Well, okay, so
My life story.
I was sort of quite new into my freelance business, but not, the one that I was working kind of half day. And at that stage, I was taking on just about anything that walks in the door. But this particular job was like almost my dream job because it was a combination of illustration work and design work. And basically I had to draw a whole bunch of kind of African animals, zebras and lions and whatever. And they were going to...
Tigers, oh my.
And they were basically going to use it on their van and their brochures, etc., which I had to design. So it was like fantastic and they were going to pay me well. Anyway, so I was very excited, but I, at that stage in my mind, thought I wasn't half bad at illustrating. Little did I know, I actually was absolutely horrendous. So there I was, proudly illustrating these hideous things. I presented it to the client, and his face just said it all. He didn't actually say anything bad about them. He kind of just went quiet, and that was the worst because then I just knew that obviously it wasn't very good.
So did you think it was good before that?
I did.
Oh, because that's quite rare. Because I think normally creatives, part of being creative, and we've talked about this, is you are aware that you suck because you have taste, because creatives naturally will know what's good and bad. So you're you beat yourself up about not being good enough for a long time. But in this case, you were like, these are great. He's going to love these.
Yeah, I thought they were okay. I won't say they were like masterpieces, but I thought they were okay. But actually, okay, so now looking back on it, anyway, so I didn't get the job.
I wish we could share these all. I wish we could post these somehow.
I know.
Because I have one similar with it, like something like that.
We need a hall of shame.
I seriously need to find them because looking back, and it wasn't too long after that incident, because I mean, obviously you think, okay, well, what the hell's wrong with him? There's nothing wrong with these illustrations. You do the whole like feeling sorry for yourself. But looking back, probably like maybe a few weeks later, I had another look at them and they were truly, truly sorry, can I say that?
Oh no, bleep that out.
Sorry,
Have you got these anywhere on an old hard drive or something? I really want to see this.
I really want to find them. You know what they look like?
We could use them as the imagery for the episode.
And this is all respect to the people back in the day that used to do word clip art. They looked worse than word clip art.
Oh no!
Oh, that is a shocker. That is.
Do you remember word art within Word?
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's what they look.
Oh right,
worse.
I thought you meant the little graphics, like that friendly paperclip and stuff. Okay, I like that to kick off there with a bit of humility from the super talented Lisa Glanz there.
And then I realized actually it was good and bad because I realized from that point I was a terrible illustrator and I needed to study, basically. Yeah.
I used to work on an internal Honda magazine. We had to convert it into, or we were given 20 languages. I had one template of the designed magazine, the sort of internal magazine, and we were given text for all the different languages it needed to be in to go around the world. And I remember that we designed all 20 and lost 10 of them. Somewhere,
that's
like,
horrible.
like something went down. You're like, well, surely you backed it up, didn't you? And it was like,
Oh,
I thought I
of
did.
course, absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're just like,
Only an idiot wouldn't back it up.
yeah. And it's just that sinking feeling because you're like, that took so long. And then you're just like, oh.
Moment of terror.
Yeah, and they needed it the next day.
What did he do?
Yeah.
I
Redid
think
it?
we all had to band together and do a late one. I think that night it was just like, yeah, it was just that sort of you're searching around for half a day just trying to find it on the, because we did have a system that backed up, and it was like something went wrong.
Yeah.
Normally a human error, normally me. and,
Ian error.
And something. Oh, it was like we had, because it went on these I don't know if you remember these high capacity tapes that stored actual digital files on them. It was weird. I don't understand.
I'm sorry, I'm nowhere near that old, Ian.
So Lisa
The
remembers.
two of us were all great.
They were like half the size of like
a VHS tape.
no, they were probably about a quarter of the size of that. It was like a mini VHS tape. Like we get in some of those cameras in the camcorders.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason it stored digital files, like really, really loads of it for some reason. And so you put a tape in and it records, and then backup system would automatically go. I think it was my fault. Everyone had a job of like, oh, you have to put in, if the tape finishes, get a new one and put it in.
Yes.
And I think it was that.
You bring back memories.
And you overwrote it with your wedding video or something.
Yeah, they played it back, and it was me doing.
It's like, I think you're going to be very pleased with this work, and then just like breaks in the wedding video, like in the last 10 of them.
You've got like the head honcho at Honda.
Yeah.
What is this guy?
Yeah, I'm doing I've got a helmet on, I'm going ground control to me.
Yeah, exactly. You singing David Bowie hits. All right, I got a pretty bad one for you guys.
All right.
Yeah.
So this was one of my first, it was my first freelance client ever. So this was pretty much like my first serious design job. I can't remember. I might have got off Craigslist. I got it some shady way. And they were making some sort of network marketing company, and they said, we'd love to hire you to do this. And they were called Lighthouse something. And I was like, okay. They were like, we should meet. Well, we couldn't meet at my apartment because it was like too embarrassing to like bring a client to your apartment. So we were talking about where to meet. We ended up meeting at like this like place called Burgerville. So we all met at the Burgerville, and they told me what they needed. And I went back, and they needed like a lighthouse. They wanted a lighthouse in the logo. And I did like really killer lighthouses. Like I did like 9 different lighthouse logos. And I was pretty good at doing these kind of things. Like really, realistic. I did ones with the gradients, and I did more simple ones that look like real pictures almost. And I met back up with them at Burgerville a couple weeks later, and they grabbed me a Diet Coke, and they grabbed themselves a Coke, and maybe some fries, and I presented my stuff on the computer and opened it up for them, and they kind of just stared at it silently and didn't say anything. And the tension you could cut with a knife in this Burgerville during rush hour traffic surrounding us. And then the guy said, I don't know, I think I just expected that it would be more professional?
Oh, no.
That is a low blow.
Stake in the heart.
Oh, man.
To this day, I think those were just fine. I want to find those and show those to you guys. I mean,
What we need to do to really humble ourselves is find our earliest bit of work and just say,
Yes.
look, we all went through some very
Look how
ugly
crap we
stages.
really were.
I mean, the thing was like I did some, as Lisa would say, but I also, it was just more hit or miss. But hearing someone say it was just a little more professional, oh, it hurt. And I was kind of angry, indignant. Like, this is great.
Did you knock over your Coke and storm out?
No, I just asked them. I was like, can you please describe to me what's not professional about it?
And what did they come up with?
I can't remember what they said, but I still look back on those. I've seen those recently, and I was like, not bad.
Was it your use of Comic Sans?
It could have been the Papyrus or the Comic Sans.
That really made it pop for them.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I was just thinking, when you mentioned that you got your jobs from like shady sources, I was like, just imagining you going down a back alley and someone's like, you got any design jobs for me?
Well, they either came from like Craigslist. I started and I knew it wasn't right to do that. That wasn't the best place, but I was just
what
trying
are you
to
doing?
get
A
some
logo for someone who's like stealing people's organs or something?
That would
Really shady place.
That would have been really shady. But we also had a program at my school where people that like didn't have big budgets for their business could come in and they could request to have us do it. And it would be like a low price, but it was a way for us to gain experience. So it might have been through that too. I can't remember which. And it was kind of like, hey, you're tossing the dice here. Maybe you'll get a good design. Maybe the design will be really horrible, but you're going to the college.
I've still got a folder on my computer that says 99 designs. Is that still going?
I did that.
Absolutely.
Oh, I feel it was really shameful.
It's this kind of leads in actually to
Me too.
one of my examples where it wasn't that site, and I'm not going to name the site, but there was a site where I used to do all these design contests, and that was how I got a lot of early experience. And I think I've talked about this before, where I started off and I wouldn't win any of them, but by the end I was winning like 50% of the ones that I entered. And so at quite a young age, I was like, okay, I'm making a few $100s. Like this is awesome. And there was one pretty prolific, big, successful internet marketer who, again, I'm not going to name, even though I could and probably should. And he posted a thing on the site being like, I want an entire website redesign. It's a big project, and got a lot of entries. And he ended up basically going with mine. And it got into that final phase where it's kind of like, okay, you should really be tying up the finances, but he kept wanting more revisions. And so I was trying to be obliging and did revision after revision. And then he eventually turned around after being like, yeah, I like it. And let's tweak this and this and this and this. And eventually turned around and he was like, no, I don't want it after all. So I'm just not going to pay.
Who was it? Who was it?
Who was it? That is
No, I don't want to say. I feel like karma maps out in these things.
Yeah.
And
What's
even
their
now,
initials? What's their initials?
What an a-hole. Oh, my word.
and all the other designers were messaging me being like, ooh, like that sucks kind of thing. And it did. And I was like a young kid, and it was going to be, beside the money, I was really looking forward to, you know what, I'm going to help redesign this famous guy's website, and that's going to be a great thing for the portfolio.
For your portfolio, yeah.
And looking
And when
back,
someone's so big like that, you feel like I can't say anything because they're so much bigger than me. They will crush me. It's like intimidating.
yeah, I guess so. And again, I was young, and I feel looking back, probably the website wasn't good enough, but obviously then we shouldn't have gone down the road of getting it to that final stage. And yeah, I still will see him like pop up at some popular conferences and stuff and be like, "Ooh, I know the truth." But again, I don't want to go around like bad mouthing anyone.
Apparently, eye drops in a drink gives you the run.
That experience.
Something tells me you've done that before.
I've seen that on TV. But good to know you've got that evil streak going, Lisa.
Just saying.
But yeah, that really stood out for me as like not a failure, but just a big thing in my design career, where at the time that felt really crushing.
It is. It's horrible, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sucks.
Nasty.
So has anyone got a less depressing one than that? I liked your guys. They were just funny when you kind of messed up.
So speaking of the 99 designs, I still feel ashamed that I did it, but I was just trying to do anything.
Hold on, Dustin, let me caveat this, because we never badmouth other websites or companies. And we have talked about this before. There's always a place in the market, I think. So certainly not saying they're a bad website. I just think there's a spectrum, and obviously you get like the, Uber, like high-end freelancing, and then you can get some of the cheaper contests. And Again, it fits the market for everyone. It depends what you're looking for.
Exactly. It fits the market for everyone. It's just a certain segment of designers, like when you tell them, they're kind of like, oh, you did that. Like, so yeah, there's something for everybody. But anyway, so I did it, and I did win some, and it was some early wins for me, and it also made me really fast at busting stuff out that looked good. So that was good. But
Yeah, that's cool.
it led to one of those contests. It happened to be that the person running it was in Portland. It was a bigger company. They ended up hiring me to be the lead designer for the department. That's how I got my first real design job, where it wasn't just me freelancing. So I went and did that, and that gave me a lot of confidence and experience. And then I went back. So 99 Designs was a positive experience in that way for me, in the sense that it did give me that first job, and it made me learn how to really work hard to make things quickly and try to.
Yeah, that's a good skill.
I found the same thing. I wouldn't go back, but it really suited me at the age I did it, and I became, similar to you, prolific, like super quick with revisions, entering as many contests as I could, so doing a lot of work, and obviously trying to keep the quality there. So I think in theory, a lot of the skills you actually pick up doing it are great, but I feel like most designers kind of use it as a stepping stone. You don't want to be stuck in that forever.
Right.
I tell you what would be a cool challenge would be us four entering a competition on like our fields and see how we do and record our progress. Like if, Lisa, there was like an illustration one and they needed some buddies to see if they would choose, any of us actually make it through to the final.
Yeah.
That would be so interesting, actually.
What if we fail?
It would be humbling.
First round.
That would be if you failed, it would still be a good watch.
I actually don't. I don't think we would all do it. I don't think every one of us. I think there would be.
I don't know. No, I'm feeling more determined than that.
The thing is, I never won one, so I'd just be re-entering some bad territory. And just
Yeah, but when did you do it? Years ago, probably before your calligraphy stuff.
Yeah, before my calligraphy stuff.
If you did a lettering one, you would destroy that.
Well, that's the problem. If I did it and I didn't get anywhere, then I'd be like, oh, well, it's not that good.
Well, and the thing is, though, like I think it would be humbling because it's not designers choosing who wins; it's clients, and it's a certain type of client. And not to mention that it runs so fast that you might make something brilliant, but then someone else can make something very, very similar, like within like a half an hour, and they might just up it a little bit. Throw something in that the person needed, then you have to jump back on it. So it's like you have to constantly be checking the account and adjusting.
I really like this idea. I feel sadly I might not have enough time to do it properly. But if my company went away tomorrow and I had time for projects, I would definitely prioritize this. And I'm going to make a note because I feel this needs to happen in the future. It reminds me of that TV series Undercover Millionaire, where the boss will put on like the world's worst fake mustache and will go and like work in the warehouse of his own company, and no one knows it's the boss at first.
Are you saying that you're a millionaire then?
Sadly not. But I do rock a pretty good fake mustache, so there is that. Especially on Halloween.
But you know what I'm pretty proud of, that I've started doing minted.com competitions. So that's something I still do. You don't know what that is though. Minted. Have you ever heard of Minted? Minted?
Like you are minted because of your piles of money, like that.
You have to be minted to enter. That's the. It's like an upper class competition.
It's the platinum card of design contests. Don't you know?
It's a website that's mainly focuses on wedding invitations and personal stationery and things like that. But they run competitions all the time, and if you win, they will sell your design on their website. It's a really cool way to. I actually started doing it just out of interest, and I've discovered that I really miss graphic design because it's you have to kind of do graphic design again, so it's been really fun because, as I said, it's like something that I haven't done in years, and so far I'm enjoying it.
But that's voted by the community, isn't it? It's not voted by a client.
No,
It?
it's voted by.
So I suppose that's slightly different. It's a bit like Threadless,
Exactly.
where people vote your things to the top, and it's the top ones who get, which I suppose is a better model, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, you if you win, if you actually get the top voted marks, if I can call it that, some of the prize money is fantastic. It's like $5,000. It's like $5,000. I mean, that's nothing to.
Do you feel like this is worth your time though? Because that's the thing with contests. It's working out. Okay, if on average I win this many.
No, because you
justifies
know
my
why?
time.
I'm not doing it for the prize money or the sales because I can't
I had a
imagine.
feeling you might say that.
Yeah, because I can't imagine it like bringing in massive amount of income.
Yep.
It's more just, it's actually what I like about it. It's pushing me to think back like a designer again, which I think is in turn going to help me with my product development. So it's like, it's just keeping me fresh in terms of what people want and what they like. And I mean, stuff that I had entered that I thought would do well, it didn't, and then stuff that I kind of like thought, well, this is like, you know, not that great, it did well. So it's a good way to kind of see what people are liking. You
You got these safari animals which just blew up on there. Some recycled elements. Or was it safari or hunting or something?
Yeah, it was safari.
Safari. Yeah, not hunting. Definitely not hunting.
Definitely not hunting. Yeah, so I don't know. It can work in the right environment, I think.
No, I like that, and I think absolutely just keeping yourself on your toes as a designer is hugely
Absolutely.
good advice.
But I got to say, it's been weird because I can't hide, if that makes sense. So
You can't under different name.
yeah.
Yeah, get a little pseudonym.
So, I mean, even if you enter all these like designs and stuff, and if they don't get anywhere, it's like, okay, like, did anyone see that? You know?
In case it reflects badly on your products. You're all right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, so it's been interesting. I think it's good for me.
I'm going to go stalk you on this platform now.
You
And I
will,
bet some of the listeners are going to as well.
Yeah. No, it's just exciting. I mean, it's weird because I sell products all the time, but today, for example, I got an email from them to say your first design is up for sale in our shop. You know, so it was so exciting. It's like weird. Why would I be excited about something that's probably never going to sell?
Actually, saying about that, I've got one of my designs is on some notebooks, very much like the field note ones.
Oh yeah.
And it was one of their top selling cover designs, and
That's
so
cool.
I'm quite. It's something I've done like I did 2 years ago.
Wait, your design was on a field notes notebook?
No, it was
Yeah, similar
like
one.
field notes. Yeah, same
Oh,
shape.
okay. I was like, how could you never mention this? That's great. But it was
Yeah.
just a field notes. It was just something
Standard notebook.
similar to field notes.
Yeah, it's like how my car is like a Lamborghini and that it has 4 wheels.
Right.
It's red, same colour.
Oh god.
Exactly. No, that's really cool. Can you
That
send
is
me a link
cool.
to that? I want to see that.
Who are you talking to?
You.
Will you send
I
me
want to
one
see.
of those?
I want to see your cool notebook
I'll
Yeah,
send it.
yeah.
Will you just send me one of the notebooks?
I haven't got any.
or that.
That's a good point. I need to get it.
Yeah, you're not saying we have to buy this and actually give you some money, are you?
Well, I think it goes to our education. I think it's a good cause. But actually, talking about because I put a lot of stuff up, or I have been putting a lot of stuff on Cotton Bureau, which is another one of those. If you get enough sales, if you get like the minimum sales, which is like 12, it will then go to print, and you get a bit of a cut once it goes. But I've only had a 20% success rate. So, and people keep requesting, put some stuff up on Cotton Bureau. And then I just don't get to the minimum requirement.
I could. I like the honesty, but I could see your stuff rocking out on there. Actually,
Yeah.
some real nice hand-added slogans.
I
and stuff.
keep putting stuff like past 3 haven't been
Mhm.
printed, I don't think. And I'm like, I just can't take that hit anymore. Of just
Oh,
not saying, like, I've done a lot of the things I've done over the past 6 months have been a complete failure.
I was about to get us back on topic here, but that actually is entirely on topic, because I think that absolutely is like a struggle or something that's gone wrong for you.
Yeah, like I got laser printed all the screen prints. I got 100 of each, and I've only sold 20 of all them together. So I'm still probably like about £500
In the red. Yeah.
And a ton of stuff in my house.
I did that with shirts too. I did that with shirts too. I bought 100 Retro Supply shirts and I tried selling them, and it was hard I couldn't sell 100 of them. And then I realized that I turned it kind of into a positive by realizing the way to use the shirts was not to sell them individually, but to add them to things as either a bonus or an incentive to incentivize people. So spend $100 and get a shirt, or like ways using it that way would help to make conversions happen.
Oh, that's good. I might do that on mine actually.
Yeah, you should, because I'm now on my 4th order of shirts. So I've gone through 400 shirts. Most of them sell indirectly, where I'm not directly selling it, but when they hit that price, I'm just like, I give you the shirt. Which
how much do you say?
What?
$100 they have to spend.
They have to spend $100, or if like I look at a certain customer's account and see they've made a total of that amount over different purchases, I'll send it. Or if they do a big thing to feature us or share it a lot or just supporting us a lot, I'll be like, let me send you a shirt, man. You're awesome.
And I'm happy to give a glowing testimonial, because mine fits like a glove. It is silky smooth cotton.
It's really good.
They're really comfy, aren't they? I wore mine last night. I've got a new personal trainer, and she's really putting me through my paces. So I keep coming back having a mild heart attack most evenings. And I wore this t-shirt, and they are really, really comfy, but they're also surprisingly figure hugging. So when I'm in this gym, I'm in this gym setting, I'm like, oh, it's showing all my sort of bits which aren't as in shape as they should be.
They are hand pulled in North Carolina by Lenny Terenzi. Give him credit for that, because he does some great shirts from Hey Monkey.
Could he do us shout? Could he do us a deal on some Honest Designer ones?
Oh
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, he would, and they'd be awesome too. Hey, can I turn the subject to a failure I had?
You can, of course, because that
is the subject.
Most relevant for today. Yeah.
So I got a client that was a trainer one time, and I would have all these questions I'd have him go through. He needed a logo. This was back in my stage when I thought that doing logos was the best way to make money. And he ended up saying that he needed a gorilla.
Okay. Did it map out better than the lighthouse?
The lighthouses were killer.
Okay.
In my recollection.
I want to see these lighthouses. I so want to see them.
Those lighthouses were cool. The gorilla, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I just could not make a gorilla. It just ended up looking like this weird, like flat, spiky, pineapple looking thing with eyes and like a weird pig nose on it. And no matter how many times I did it, like I kept doing it. And then that was in my beer drinking days, so sometimes I just have to go down to the store and get some beers, because like I just couldn't deal with like this gorilla anymore. And I remember the date came to show it to him, and like he just looked at it, and I think it was kind of like we both knew it was just utter BS. Like it was just the most ridiculous gorilla ever. So that was hard, because it kind of got to this point where we were just at like this crossroads where we couldn't do anything. It was like, hey man, this is the best gorilla I can make. And he'd already paid me some, and I'd already put the labor in, but I was like, this is the gorilla. I can't keep...
Have you got this pineapple pig gorilla as a file still?
I do.
You do?
I have to go find it. I'm not sure where it is. I think I probably have
set a
it.
reminder. Yeah, I really want to see this.
I did something really
We'll put it in the show
shameful.
notes for everyone listening. If we can find it, we'll put it in the show notes.
Oh,
yeah, it was a pretty bad gorilla, because he really wanted it to look realistic. And I mean, when people want logos done, they could ask for anything. You don't know. I mean, doing something like that, who knows what they're going to ask for? They might ask for a gorilla or a bus or a city, or who knows what they're going to want. And I mean, if someone wants a gorilla, like there's no other way to slice it. You got to deliver a gorilla. Am I right, Lisa? You know what I mean? Like you got to deliver that gorilla. And I was not the man to deliver that gorilla.
Don't worry, you're not alone. I obviously couldn't draw zebras or whales or lions.
So the
or anything.
question is, how do you handle when that kind of thing happens? And I think the solution in hindsight is one of two things. Either you just have to be like, look, in the first place, I should have just been like 2 hours into trying, I can't do a gorilla. Or I should have contracted it out to somebody that could do the gorilla.
Yeah.
Or
That's what I
buy
should have
a
done.
wonderful resource from designcuts.com for all your gorilla
I like that.
needs.
I like that.
But then other people will be able to use that gorilla. It
Yeah.
had to be a very exclusive gorilla.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only
I
often
must
are.
say, when I have been given jobs that I just know I can't do, I've said, "Look, this is not happening. It's not working." I think honesty is the key. Yeah, Dustin, I don't know.
I think at one point I did say, like, did you see my portfolio? And I didn't mean that as like, did you see my portfolio? It's like rubbish. I meant like, you can get a sense for like what I'm going to be able to do for you from that. Like,
Yeah.
nothing magical
Yeah.
different than that is going to happen.
Did you
It's
see
going
my
to be in that
portfolio?
realm.
Not a single gorilla inside it.
No safari animals. No.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a fine line between pushing yourself, because you gotta push yourself, but also knowing your limitations. Yeah.
I actually, I think, Dustin, you're doing the art for this episode. For all the listeners, we
I
do
am.
this cool thing where we kind of cycle through the various
Please, can we-
hosts designing the artwork. And I feel for this one, we actually need a gorilla. If you're able,
Please.
if you're able to do, maybe you've got better, or maybe you still suck, and this is going to be the most hideous gorilla ever.
I still
which is-
couldn't do a gorilla.
Yeah, it's what I'm hoping for. So
Let me see if I can
if
find the
you're
old one.
willing, please do some gorilla artwork.
I'm going to try to find the original gorilla artwork.
Oh, please
Yeah,
do.
and
I'd
we can
love to.
recycle it.
It's so bad. Oh man, people won't even listen to the episode. They'll see that picture and be like, someone has hacked into Honest Designers.
Oh, that's good. Was it vector, by the way? I mean,
Oh yeah, I knew
like
to do
a
vector
clean-
for sure. It
No,
was
what I mean,
clean-
it was a clean like vector shape.
It was clean
pineapple.
vector shapes. I eventually got so desperate I started getting pictures of gorillas and auto tracing them. But those aren't clean. But the ones I made were very clean. I mean, they were definitely presentable as logos. Oh, and then I was putting this extra restriction on myself that I didn't understand. We were going to this age where back in the day, you know, if you printed multiple colors, cost a lot more money. But now it's
Yep.
kind of to a point where you can do multiple colors on a logo. It's not so much of an issue. For
Mhm.
as a general rule, it's not so much of an issue. Sometimes it is. And if they're stamping it on something, obviously that
Yeah.
could be an issue. But you can, like, for this guy, he was just doing like this fitness gym thing.
Mhm.
But I was putting this restriction that it could only be like 1 or 2 colors, and so then it was posing all these other challenges. And that damn gorilla!
I feel like it stayed with you here, buddy.
It did. This just like opened up some pretty painful memories.
Well, thank you for sharing with the group.
Yeah. Thank you for the courage.
I feel like everyone probably has their gorilla.
Oh yes.
Like, to everyone listening, it's like, oh yeah, that
You know what?
that
We
thing
should
from 6
ask
years
people
ago.
to share and tag us.
Yes, please. So yeah, tag, like, Instagram's really the main one. If you're on
Mm.
Instagram, which hopefully most of the listeners are, post up something. I guarantee, regardless of the show, your listeners will appreciate your fans and followers will appreciate your candid honesty. Just
Yeah.
put it up, give it context, and put in the description, this is from 7 years ago or whatever, and this is when I was really struggling, and I just wanted to share this to show, you know, it doesn't always go to plan. And then tag honest designers, hashtag honest designers, tag like
My
the host
gorilla.
if you can. we would love to see it. I guarantee we will engage with that post if you put it out there.
Yeah. That is
Hey,
classic.
okay, so this is a little bit off, but have you guys seen the Saturday Night Live skit on Papyrus that just came out?
I haven't. I feel
There-
out the
Mm-mm.
loop.
The guy's it's Ryan Gosling or
Oh.
whatever, and he's talking about Avatar, and he's like sitting there drinking his coffee, and his wife's like, it's happening again, isn't it? And then it's like he's really upset because he's like, Avatar is just papyrus. He's like, that's right, some graphic designer just highlighted the text, went down the menu to papyrus, and clicked it. And then they're like, but it looks like they might have started with papyrus, but they adjusted it. Like they started there, but they changed it. He's like, not enough. It's pretty funny, man.
I actually had someone on our team shared this the other day, and I just didn't have time to watch it yet. But yeah, I'm definitely watching that.
Yeah, it's funny because they're like some other lady's like, "What's papyrus?" Like not a designer, and he's like, "It's used." Oh, what does he say? He's like, "It's used for." It's I can't even remember. He's like, "It's used for something and something and off-brand teas."
Herbal teas. I love that they put that out on Saturday Night Live because that's so niche for like your average viewer.
It's very
Designers
niche.
obviously get that.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, way to represent designers.
Yeah.
But you see it everywhere, right? Like, I don't know if it's there, but like here you see papyrus on. Sorry, I'm getting off subject here, but you see papyrus on like massage places or nail places.
Okay, but I want to ask the two of you, like who actually used Comic Sans and papyrus when they were designing? Can you put your hand up?
I may have used papyrus like once.
Serious? Wow. Okay.
Hey, that's a loaded question. You just asked me to be honest with you here. I tell you, and then you burn me.
Instant judgment.
Sorry.
I'm already hurting about this gorilla. Way to kick me when I'm down, Lisa.
I feel maybe I used Comic Sans on like a mock-up as a placeholder, and even that pained me. We actually, I'm not going to say who, but we actually accepted someone to the team at Design Cuts who used Comic Sans on their CV.
Was it to be ironic?
It wasn't a creative position.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, no, still, they obviously got totally chastised on their first day. It's like, you're lucky to be here.
That's so sweet, though, actually.
It's a testament to how good you are at whatever they are doing that they still got through the threshold.
Exactly.
Precisely.
Wow.
You know what was weird is when I went to Mobile, Alabama, are you guys familiar with the font Hobo?
Yep.
Rings a bell. I can't picture it though.
It's got kind of rounded sort of.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds lovely.
It was everywhere. It was weird. It had broken out everywhere there, and it's not particularly bad.
Was it the lobster of its generation? You remember that fun?
Lobster. I have to admit, I used to think lobster was kind of cool.
Yeah,
but that was the first kind of like edgy script, if you think about it.
It was. You're like, whoa, this is free, and it's so nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, who would give this away for free?
Actually, that is one of my failures, I guess. In the early days, there were so few fonts, I think, that were nice. Yeah, I would find one that I loved, and I would use it on everything, but often to embarrassing consequences. So it might be like a super clean sans serif font, and then I would go and use it for like a massage parlor where it's begging for papyrus and pair it with like a lotus flower or something, and it just didn't work at all. It's like really the thing was screaming out for elegant scripted font, and I'd be like, yep, here we go with Montserrat again or something.
Yeah.
We've all been
man
there.
But because fonts back then, well, yeah, when I was growing up, fonts back then were really expensive. Yeah.
Well, they still are a lot of the time. I think the market's opened up. They're more accessible. You can find good stuff that's affordable, but non-designers are still horrified when I explain to them you can spend $1,000 on a font.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of fonts and expensive prices, so that was a failure of mine on I think it only took me one time to learn my lesson. When I gave them the price, I forgot to make it clear that anything I had to pay for, they would have to pay for instance, like a font. And I ended up needing to buy this like $300 font. Oh, and I was too embarrassed to tell them, so I just took the hit.
Oh no.
So yeah, just remember it's another thing.
I just remembered one actually. Do you remember the font Proxima Nova?
Yeah.
Like beautiful font, right?
I like that font.
I can't remember how many weights it has, but that was one of the first fonts where I actually paid for it. But I couldn't afford the whole family. So I paid for one weight. And I was doing a bunch of website work, but the thing is, for any of my clients, I couldn't give them bold text because I think I only had the regular way. So
That's classic.
like
Wait, doesn't the CSS just automatically like make it bold even though it's like not properly done?
No, I don't think so. Like I was giving them quite often PSD templates and that kind of thing because I'm not really a coder myself. So I'd be showing them these mock-ups and they would have this thin body text, this super thin headlines. And this, I feel that's now coming back into trend. But back then it's like you wanted like a bold, impactful headline. And then I'd have the same font for the logo. And so like right across the board, it would just be this consistent way. It would look absolutely terrible. And then I'd try and do this real like amateur sidesteps. Like I'd tweak the color slightly. So to dictate what a heading was, I'd make that black, whereas the other text was dark gray. Or like I'd underline it because I was like desperate for any way to make it stand out. And I know that sounds so trivial, but if I was showing you right now some of these old designs, you would just cringe. It's like, it's so obvious what's going on. It's like the guy can't afford $15 for like an extra weight of this font.
Well, you know what's funny is we all grew up in the time when things started to be bought online, and I remember buying stuff for the first time online, and it just felt so crazy. Do you remember that feeling? Like I remember buying an app, and it took me like 3 months of having an iPad before I bought an app for 99 cents because it seemed so absurd that I had to pay for something I couldn't touch.
Yeah.
And then I remember buying Brandon Grotesque was one of the first fonts I bought. It cost me $400. And I just was like, this is just files. Like, how could I do this? And now I don't even think about it. But do you guys remember that? Like that feeling of, wait, what? I'm paying for an app?
Yeah. I totally remember that. And I think now it's all so seamless. So you get all these like contactless stuff or even the touching your fingerprint and like your blink and the money's gone out your account. It's now so easy to spend money. And I think it doesn't feel like real money. It feels like monopoly money. Yeah. Whereas back in the day, it very much was like, I'm getting out my wallet and this feels very unnatural and you palpably feel the money leaving your account.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I remember my grandmother, she loves to play some word game or something. She plays it all day long on her iPad, and we're like, she can only play so many times, then it makes her wait until like it reloads. So we were like, Grandma, why don't you just buy more of these credits? Because she would spend the money, like she would go to like a casino and spend like $500. I was like, why don't you just spend the $10 and have 1,000 coins so you can play this nonstop since you love it so much? I'm not paying for nothing. I'm not paying for, because it was just digital. But I was like, but Grandma, you like live with this thing. You love it.
Oh, bless her. I feel we should probably mention, by the way, the absence of Ian. Because a while back, we've been obviously chatting for a while. Ian went very quiet for any listeners who might have noticed. And he actually had to go and do something with his kids. And we thought we could seamlessly kind of let him leave the episode. He was in at the start and that was great. But I feel it's gone on so long now, there's going to be some listeners who are concerned for his well-being. He's just kind of vanished into thin air. So Ian is no longer with us. But hopefully you enjoyed his contributions earlier.
Just for this episode.
Yeah,
exactly. Just for this episode.
He'll be back. He hasn't been taken hostage or anything.
Still alive. Still
alive and well.
Yeah.
Still speaking to Bob.
Yeah, I feel that's probably a good point to wrap it now that I've bared the honest truth about our dear friend Ian.
It's all a farce.
Yeah, exactly. There is no Ian. It's just been Dustin impersonating him and he's run out of voices. But yeah, hopefully us bearing some of our failures and our embarrassing moments does just go to show, stuff's always going to go wrong. And I actually think it really helps to laugh about it. Some of the stuff I shared today was really painful at the time, but now it's pretty funny looking back on it.
Yeah, it's cringeworthy stuff, but it's it's good.
I read a quote the other day, and I think it's perfect for this. It was some author, probably some famous guy. I don't know. He said, I never finish books. They just get published. and I thought that's so true, right? Like
that sounds kind of badass.
Well, but it's true.
I thought you could say I never finish books. I just start them or something.
Well, no, he meant like he's a writer, right? So he
No, I get it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like he never feels like they're done. He's like, they just get published and then that's it. They weren't done. Which
It just, it's like, we're all riddled with mistakes, but you got to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I seriously, I just want to see these examples now. I'll show you mine
I've
if
got
you
to
show me yours.
Yeah, I've got to find
Show me your gorilla
drawings.
and your zoo animals.
But what if I find them and they are just so horrendous?
All
So
the
yours
better.
better be bad. You better not like we all show up with like rubbish and then you're like, oh, here's my bad one.
No,
it's like,
no,
really,
no,
really
no.
good.
It's like nothing we could ever do. No, I really
God.
want to see this. I feel like it's the other day when Ian did that video where he was trying to draw on the cap and it just exploded ink all over it.
That was
And
awesome.
how much people love that because it's like, oh right, you can suck as well.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, so I gotta tell you because I took a thing from that and because I was like, I'm going to share a failure because I get notifications about Facebook ads I do, and it
Yeah.
would be like, congratulations, like your Facebook ad like made this much, and
Got
so
nothing.
it messages me and it's like, congratulations, this Facebook ad cost me like $40. It's like, congratulations, your Facebook ad yielded like $1.64. so I screenshotted it and put it up on Facebook and just put the word winning. I got so many like likes and like laughs and claps, on it. Like,
That's so good.
people love to see a little bit of failure.
They do. I'm going to make a note, actually, a public note, so the listeners have me on record here. But Raluca, who is on our social media team, she listens to these episodes too. And this is a note for Raluca. I want to put some of that Dustin personality into our pages. On top of all like the helpful content and stuff, I miss doing just dumb, funny stuff like that. I think that's what
Like-
social's all
Like
about.
what?
Like what you just said with like sharing that
Yeah.
funny thing, and
yeah.
like Ian's very good at this stuff. He'll
He is.
do kind of behind the scenes, like just dumb stuff, messing around.
It's highly
So,
entertaining
all
to see
over
people do that. I looked at Ian's thing. I watched that video like probably 5 times.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah, it was
just
hilarious.
because you're so used to these like perfect Twitter things where it's
Yeah.
all smoothly done, and you're like, yes, finally. It's like just therapy to watch like this guy just mess it up.
Took great pleasure in watching that.
I did.
So something I'm noticing is we are notoriously bad at wrapping up an episode. We'll kind of conclude and then be like, oh, but what about
Yeah.
this? So on that note, I'm going to bid the dear listeners farewell. Thanks for tuning in. Bye from the three of us. And
Oh, but wait, one more thing. I just want to say, I'm just joking. Okay, sorry, continue.
Bye from the three of us. And Ian, will you keep it down, mate? Because you have just lorded over this conversation for the last 20 minutes. All right, good. Okay, just to establish. We'll see you next week, guys.
See you guys.
Ciao. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. We hope that it helped to show you that no matter where you're at in your design career, you will inevitably make some mistakes along the way. However, often these mistakes are actually incredibly formative for any future success. So stick with it and keep following your passion, because you will most likely be laughing about this stuff in a few years' time. As always, you can find full show notes for this episode over at honestdesigners.com, or find us over on iTunes by searching for The Honest Designers Show. If today's episode helped you, then it would mean the world to us if you took a moment to leave us a quick review over on iTunes, as this is the best way for your fellow creatives to discover the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you next week right here on The Honest Designers Show.